Question. What kind of bear is best?
That's a ridiculous question.
False. Black bear. Fact. Bears eat beets.
Oh.
Bears. Beets. Battlestar Galactica.
Bears do not...
Duke, what's with the hair? You got aspirin?
You should feel better momentarily, and your memory will slowly return.
Duke, what's with the hair?
The specific...
Yeah, Bob. You remember Bob, the guy that's gonna launch a nuclear attack? You got any more abuse you want to hurl my way? Or are you ready to go in here and take care of Bob?
What do you propose, Bob?
When in doubt, C4.
It's me, 'tis I, your favorite little geeky pigwa. All right. I hope you got your iced coffee ready and you're strapped in to learn about what's going on in geek culture and gaming and all the other cool stuff out there, and even Christian culture as well. So anyway, let's get into it, shall we? So we're going to start off with some gaming and tech news. So for those of you that are out there that are Android users, apparently this week, Google has made a decision with their latest version of Android that it's going to have a feature that after 3 days of inactivity, it's going to reboot your phone. I have an article that I'm going to read about it so you can let you know what's going on. Switch over here. And actually, Google clarified their stance on this. This was actually just yesterday. Google clarifies what's happening with Android's auto reboot feature. Let me zoom in a little bit on this. There we go. And so earlier this week, Google quietly revealed, that's why I'm bringing it out, because I don't think anybody's even really talking about this. It's not really that big of a deal in my opinion, but it can, for those of you that are Android users out there, it might come as a shock. Who knows? Anyway, so earlier this week, Google quietly revealed via its Google System Release Notes page that it was rolling out a new auto reboot feature to Android devices. This feature, as described, works similarly to the inactivity reboot in iOS 18.1 that came out almost like a year ago with Apple. So Android's now finally decided to add it to theirs. It's a new security feature in a way. And this feature, as described, works similarly. Okay, wait a minute. Works similarly as it does in the activity reboot of iOS 18.1 and the auto reboot feature in Graphene OS. If an Android device has been locked for 3 consecutive days and you're not doing anything on it, you've not touched the phone, it's been locked that whole time for 3 days, then it automatically reboots. Late last month, Android Authority contributor Assemble Debug tore down the Google Play Services app and discovered a reference to this auto reboot feature, known internally as inactivity reboot. He found evidence that the feature is tied to the Advanced Program Protection Mode, a new feature in Android 16 that provides a way for the system and for third-party apps to know when users are enrolled in Google's Advanced Protection Program. The Advanced Protection Mode will serve as a one-click option to enable certain security features in the OS in the compatible third-party apps. Because Google has yet to actually provide a user interface for enabling Advanced Protection Mode in Android 16, we speculate that Google was not, in fact, rolling out this new auto reboot feature. Today, as of yesterday, we discovered that Google has quietly updated the wording on the Google System Release Notes to confirm that the feature isn't actually rolling out. Furthermore, the new wording confirms that the feature will be optional once it does roll out. As you can see right here, it shows before, with this feature, your device automatically restarts if locked for 3 consecutive days. After, phone enables a future optional security feature, which will automatically restart your device if locked for three consecutive days. Okay, so after 3 days of inactivity, you can have it optionally. There should be an option. It's not out yet, but they're going to be rolling it out pretty soon. That you'll have the option to turn on this feature so that after 3 days of inactivity, inactivity, and it's been locked, it will reboot the phone. Now, why is that kind of important? Because that means, first off, you're going to have to remember your PIN in order to be able to get into it, or Touch ID, or whatever you use to get into your Android phone. But it's also a good thing that if by some chance you lose your phone and it's been sitting there on a lock screen for 3 days, it reboots the device and it prevents other people from using your phone. It's a security feature. I don't know. I haven't even played with the one on iPhone because I got an iPhone. But I am also an Android user too. I have Android tablets and things. So I don't know. I'm curious to check this out. All right. Next, there is a new game that should be releasing soon that I really want to check out. And actually, all the links and everything that I'm talking about today, including this video, this trailer video, and also the Steam page for a game called Jump Ship, which looks really, really cool. We're going to watch the trailer and talk about it. But all the links are down there so you can go check them out yourself. This is about a 2-minute video right here. We're going to pause it periodically probably, but because there's parts that's just so cool. But anyway, it is basically what I consider to be like No Man's Sky on steroids. So here we go. It's called Jump Ship.
Hi, I'm Philip Kolianos from Keepsake Games, and this is Jump Ship, a mission-based co-op PvE space adventure. In Jump Ship, teamwork is crucial. Mount turrets, tackle emergencies, and ensure your ship's integrity to...
Look at that. The ship was on fire. You gotta get out of your fire extinguisher and put it out. Kind of brings back memories of barrel trauma. If you've never played that, it's like when you're going on a submarine, there's fires you have to put out and things like that. There's also a power grid, and there's just it's basically a 4-person co-op that you do stuff on a ship and you go on missions and stuff.
complete missions and reap the rewards. While Jump Ship is best enjoyed with up to 4 players, solo players are welcome too. Each mission in Jump Ship demands strategic choices. Jump to riskier sectors with high risk, high reward, or take a safer route. Do you want components for your ship? Do you need repairs? Or perhaps...
Now, this right here was really, when I saw this, I couldn't believe my little penguin eyes couldn't believe it. I started drooling. Oh my goodness. The spaceship is flying around in space and you're running around on top of it. I assume you're using like mag boots or something, but nevertheless, oh my goodness, I can't believe how cool this game is. I really want to play this when it comes out. It's called Jump Ship. Oh man, I just can't get over it.
Perhaps some extra credits.
I detected jamming.
All right, we just arrived. There seems to be a jammer preventing us from jumping further. Let's make our way there and disable it. Using our sensors, we can tell that ships are patrolling the area.
Wow.
With some good positioning and teamwork, though, I'm sure we can make our way past them undetected.
Oh, look at that. Undetected. Actually trying to get around them so they don't see you. That is so cool. I can't wait for this game to come out.
We made it. Time to enter the facility.
It just looks like a seriously good time.
And use all gear and equipment you've looted to stay alive.
Oh my goodness.
When that's done and all loot is collected, it's time to return to the ship and... Pirates! All crew to their stations!
Oh no! Pirates! It kind of reminds me if like No Man's Sky, Sea of Thieves, Barrel Trauma all had a child. This would be it. Jump Ship. And also throw in there maybe a little bit of oh, what is it? Not Andromeda. I forget. Anyway. I'm just really looking forward to this game. Look at that. It just looks amazing. Oh my goodness.
Oof, that was close. Good thing nothing...
So you have people piloting the ship, you have people running guns, or going around putting out fires from damage control, keeping power systems going, probably engines. So you have like everything from like, you know, science, engineering, you name it.
Got severely broken. Let's jump to the next sector. I wonder what we'll find there. Jump Ship is packed with a wide range of challenges, from intense ship battles to on-foot exploration, and sometimes a mix of both. Every jump will feel fresh and give you something different. So in a nutshell, you start with choosing your ship, you go on a mission, reap the rewards, and then return back to your hangar. There you can upgrade your ships.
They're playing soccer in space. Oh man, anyway.
Purchase new equipment before embarking on a new adventure. And
I like that, upgrading the ship, all that type of stuff.
Like and subscribe.
And look at that. You can actually go, it's made in Unity. You can also look, you can actually go and like use your jetpack as you saw flying around in space. So you can actually fly around in space in the ship, or you can leave the ship and like, you know, in essence become a smaller target and attack another ship, like maybe jetpack over to it to board it and to attack it. It's just so many things it looks like you can do in it. Anyway, so that I just can't get over how good that game looks. It just looks amazing. All right, so unfortunately, it's the time to get into the more serious, crazy stuff that's going on and get into our first major topic. We're going to talk about, once again, Disney Marvel messing things up. And this time they are royally messing up Marvel, the MCU, by literally destroying the first Marvel family. Yes, campers, I'm talking about the Fantastic Four movie that's coming out soon. And when I found this out, it floors me. So, I got an article here to read about it. Let me zoom in. Says Fantastic Four missteps. Latest woke reveals have fans questioning the MCU film's priorities. I'll tell you this much. I was originally looking forward to seeing this. I now have no desire to see this movie whatsoever. The mere fact that it's gone woke and identity politics in it, because I'm going to read this here in a minute, and they're literally the writer and the showrunner of this movie, in conjunction with Kevin Feige, is actually purposely saying that they're putting in the newer gender ideology that's out there. In other words, they're not calling it woke, but it is woke. Don't kid yourselves, people. We're not done here. We're still in a woke fight. And Disney is the forefront on... Am I back? I do not know what happened. Let me see. Am I live again? Okay, I'm trying to see if I am live or not. Okay, it looks like, I don't know what happened, but YouTube dropped out again. I've been having trouble. I had trouble last week with YouTube. I don't know what the problem is. It looks like I'm still going on Rumble. All right, so here we go. Marvel Studios' Fantastic Four First Steps is one of the most anticipated superhero films of 2025. Not really. But for many longtime fans, excitement has given way to anxiety. Recent interviews with the cast and creative team have only fueled concerns that the movie will be another woke misstep from Marvel, prioritizing social messaging and identity politics over the adventurous spirit and family dynamics that made the Fantastic Four iconic. Oh, this just makes me sick to think about it. Here's the first red flag. For fans that came from the cast's own words about the characters are being reimagined for modern sensibilities. Every time you see that word modern, you know it's not good. Joseph Quinn, who, by the way, I liked in Stranger Things, who's going to be playing Johnny Storm, openly discussed how his Human Torch will be different from previous versions. In the comics, he was always a womanizing, carefree guy that was always, you know, he thought he was too sexy for his own clothes and stuff. This time, though, he's not going to be that way. So this version of Johnny is less callous with other people's feelings. Great. In other words, he may be a crier. And hopefully there's a self-awareness about what's driving that attention-seeking behavior. For many, this signals a deliberate move away from the brash, flawed Johnny that fans loved, I was one of them, in favor of a sanitized, more socially acceptable version. Basically, since he's a straight white male and too brazen of a character, they have decided to make his character more feminine and sensitive. Oh. He probably goes to therapy sessions and talks about his feelings while setting the couch on fire. I'm so tired of this stuff. Oh. Vanessa Kirby, who takes on the role of Sue Storm, has also made it clear that her Invisible Woman will be shaped by contemporary gender politics. Is the mic on? Did you hear what I said here? Contemporary gender politics. This is supposed to be set in the 1960s. So how can they have contemporary gender politics of 2025 in the 1960s? That makes no sense. If you played an exact 60s Sue today, everyone would think she's a bit of a doormat, Kirby said. So figuring out how to capture the essence of what she represented to each generation where the gender politics were different and embody that today was one of the greatest joys of this. While updating Sue's character is understandable, the focus on gender politics has left some fans worried that the film will be more about making statements than telling a great story. Well, duh, it's pretty much what Disney writers do. They write what they know, which isn't squat. All they know about is their ideology, their politics, their pandering to the correct message. You know, the message, which hasn't gone away, people. It's still here. It still is. It's still here. Anyway. Even lead star Pedro Pascal didn't wow attendees. Yeah, to be honest with you, I think he's a bad choice for Mr. Fantastic. Don't get me wrong, I like sort of Pedro Pascal in some things, but not in others. I don't like him as a person. He was one of the people that called out Gina Carano when she got fired. And some of the things he also said was worse than what Gina Carano did, but yet he still has a job at Lucasfilm. Anyway, I like how Chris Gore's mentioned in this article. It says right here, even lead star Pedro Pascal didn't wow attendees to the recent CinemaCon event. According to Film Threat's Chris Gore, I don't think Pedro makes a good Mr. Fantastic. I was underwhelmed. I would agree, Chris. Take a look at that. There's a trailer right here. I'm going to play that. And as I mentioned in the clip above, the changes don't stop there with the Core 4. We knew this one before we even started getting a trailer or anything. The first thing we knew about the Fantastic Four movie coming out was that they swapped the Silver Surfer. Instead of Norrin Rad, who is the Silver Surfer, they pick an offshoot from an alternative universe that's female called Shalabal, and made her the Silver Surfer. Because obviously in Fantastic Four, that means we're going to be coming across Galactus as the big bad. And it should be Norrin Rad. Norrin Rad, who like he is in the comics. This is stupid. I don't have much hope for this movie. I really don't. Once again, it just feels like Disney Marvel is just once again throwing away money after money on this woke identity politics stuff and throwing it up against the wall and see what sticks. Well, newsflash for you, the wall you're throwing against is covered in Teflon. It's not sticking. People don't like it. People are not going to the theaters to see it. People are checked out of Marvel. I know I'm not interested in seeing this. This is pure trash, in my opinion. I don't want to go to a movie, especially a comic book movie, and see some of the best heroes in all of Marvel start talking about politics and how probably the Invisible Woman is the bestest ever. I want to go there to enjoy seeing these comic heroes on the big screen, be told a good story, get immersed in it, become part of that world. I don't want to hear about your stupid ideology. I don't want to be preached at. I just want to see a good story. All right, enough ranting and raving. Next, it seems like to me every time we turn around, Gina Carano is in the news, and that's a good thing in my opinion, because she's not stopping. She's not going away, people. She's not backing down. It doesn't matter if Disney tried to do her best to get rid of her. She's still here. And go, girl, go. Good for you, Gina Carano. This little penguin supports you ever since you got canceled. I've been supporting you. Anyway, so let's take a look at an article here. This is the same. We're going to watch a video once again by Drunk 3PO, because actually this one involves Drunk 3PO directly. Even though he covers a lot about Gina Carano, nevertheless, this one's actually specifically involves his branding. Gina Carano calls out Lucasfilm Disney over apparent co-opting of the Welcome to the Rebellion slogan. On Wednesday, former Mandalorian star Gina Carano noted a striking similarity between the new marketing slogan for Andor Season 2 and one of her own previous tweets that she posted on X back in like 2021. Gina Carano pointed out that the phrase "Welcome to the Rebellion," prominently used in Andor's promotional campaign, mirrors her own previous post and also the slogan on T-shirts and hoodies bearing her character Cara Dune's image. Matter of fact, actually, Drunk 3PO, Jay, he makes a lot of merch with that slogan on it. Now, granted, that slogan is not owned by Disney or by Jay or anybody else that I know of, but it's kind of odd that Disney, Lucasfilm, Star Wars has decided to use that phrase, since Jay and Gina Carano have been using that phrase ever since she got canceled back in 2021. It just seems messed up to me. So let's go. And actually, if you look right here, this is actually Jay's on 9 Line Apparel. I'm not promoting Jay's stuff, but I do like Jay from Drunk 3PO. And he's got Welcome to the Rebellion shirts and all that kind of stuff. But that's where it comes from. Let's watch his video. It's about 6 minutes, and he can explain a little bit more in detail about all this because he is intimately involved in all this mess in the culture fight for cancellation and with Gina Carano. He's not intimately involved with Gina Carano. They're just friends, as far as I know. But he is in the know when it comes to the cancellation part of this. And everything that's going on with the legal battle that she's going through. And apparently he's been kind of indirectly drug into this a little bit with this new slogan.
Well, as long as Gina keeps tweeting at Lucasfilm, Disney, I'll still have videos to make. This is a special one because it involves yours truly. And first of all, forgive me on the way I sound. I have been under the weather these past few days and trying to get over it. But here we are. Anyway, Gina Carano calls out Lucasfilm Disney over an apparent co-opting of Welcome to the Rebellion slogan. And many of you remember it was back here in 2021 after she was fired from the company for her mean post, her mean political post on social media. And Lucasfilm's like, I don't want anything to do with her. She posted this. This is just the beginning. Welcome to the rebellion. She gave a speech talking about let the independents rise. Let's do independent media, independent books, things like that. Well, Star Wars on their official Twitter account while promoting Andor Season 2 and in the teaser trailer has the slogan, Welcome to the Rebellion. Now,
Yeah, see, that's kind of messed up, isn't it? I mean, granted, like I said, nobody's really owns this slogan, but the mere fact that 4 years ago, Disney Star Wars, Lucasfilm, is the actual company that decided to fire Gina Carano via social media, try to get her canceled and blacklisted in Hollywood. And she posted on Twitter stating, Welcome to the Rebellion, shortly after that happened. And now that same company is using that slogan too. That just feels odd.
Does Lucasfilm own this slogan? No. Do I own this slogan? Not really. Does Gina own it? No. So they're free to say whatever they like. It's just kind of funny that all of us that were here 4 years ago using that slogan over and over and over again to the point of there's a podcast now and merchandise. Star Wars is like, hey, welcome to the rebellion, everybody. Watch Andor Season 2. So Gina took a little jab at them. All right, that's her right to do. Don't you think? It's just a little jab, and it's kind of funny. 100%. Let's see what Gina had to say. She quote tweets the official Star Wars account. I'm kind of shocked they haven't blocked her, honestly. And she has a little fun, catchy phrase. Do you think they were all sitting around in the writer's room thinking, okay, I've got it. It's super original. Just spitballing here, but how about we make our main catchphrase, welcome to the rebellion, LOL. Also, you can get a shirt at this link and they've been out for 4 year-ish. And look at the
Yeah, notice you put the link for Drunk 3PO's store on there that's selling that merch. Now, here's the part that really confirms what I have already known all along from the Disney writers' room. They're not creative. They just co-op other things. This is another example. Welcome to the rebellion. You think they came up with that phrase? No, they didn't. Instead, they decided to borrow it from the very person who made the phrase first after her firing from that said company. It's just insane.
The link that she posted, some of you might not even know this, but that's the link to my store. And shout out again to that Park Place for also linking this merch store. Well, if you don't know the story behind this, I made a simple shirt on Teespring that says "Welcome to the Rebellion," and Disney sent some letter over there, and it was immediately taken down. I was like, they don't own this slogan. So Nine Line reached out, long story short, and they said, they don't own the slogan. Why don't you put your merch here? If anybody buys anything, it will help out veterans through the Nine Line Foundation, and they get a cool shirt. There's the Gina shirt right there. And so
actually, I remember that controversy when he did put it over on Teespring, and they Disney came after him. It's messed up.
That's how that was born. Now, I do own welcome to the rebellion.com. And if you heard me talk about this on a live stream, you know what happened after Gina said the phrase. I said, hey, look, I'd like to start a podcast, call it Welcome to the Rebellion Podcast. You know, we've got merch. It's on a separate channel. And if you didn't know, I am live every single morning from 8 to 10, Monday through Friday, on the Welcome to the Rebellion Podcast. He talks about a lot of different things. I'll put the link all in the pinned comment if you didn't know that and you want to check it out. Now, here's the interesting part.
I'm not normally up that early in the morning, but I have caught it before. I've watched it after the fact even. So it's not bad. Actually, I like it. Of course, I like Jay's stuff. I like Jay. Jay's a good guy. He actually gave me permission to use any of his content. And notice, I always put the link to his content down in the description of this stream, so you can always go and watch it for yourself. I like being transparent. I like being honest with my viewers.
That domain name was available when all this stuff happened 4 years ago, and I bought it at like the basic domain name prices, right? And then all of a sudden there was like a block or hold put on the domain name, and I couldn't use it. And I kept getting like these messages from the company saying, hey, somebody said that they own this already, that they claimed it. And I didn't understand how any of this stuff worked. Listen, man, I'm just a guy on YouTube, recorded myself, whatever. I didn't understand how any of this worked. And I fought for this thing with an attorney for like a year. And finally, I was like, I just give up. Like, I was about to give up. I'm like, I can't afford to do this.
I didn't know he used an attorney to fight this. That's insane.
I don't know what's going on exactly. And then all of a sudden, I get an email saying, hey, guess what? It was one of those things where I didn't have to go to court or anything. Somebody was just fighting on my behalf or whatever. And I got an email saying, well, something happened. It's lifted. You now own the domain. Do with it as you will. Again, I don't know if it was Disney. I don't know who it was. I didn't get that involved. I just wanted to own it because of everything that's going on. So I just put up a simple website that takes you to the show. We interview people over there. I go live. It's not pop culture. We do more political stuff over there and pop culture. Does. And the whole catchphrase.
But he also talks about
Welcome
news.
to the Rebellion. Let me just say this. In talking with Gina, it is all about rebelling against your fears and taking a step and creating and doing something that you've always wanted to do, such as take that trip you wanted to do, write that book. You know, maybe you want to create a YouTube channel. Maybe you want to create a podcast. Maybe you want to take boxing lessons. Maybe you want to do. It's like, what is holding you back?
Can you see
what kind of
boxing
fear is
gloves on
holding you
these
back
flippers?
from
I
you
don't think
going
so.
out there and doing something that you always wanted to do? And that is being part of the rebellion when you let go of your fears and you go out and do it. That's the only thing it means. Independent stuff. Get out there. Live your life. You got one life to live. So thank you, Gina, for sharing the merch store and bringing more attention because my website.
Okay. So there you go. I just thought that was funny. Just that, I mean, 'cause just last week, Gina Carano won a major victory with the judge making Disney move forward with Discovery and getting all the, the pertinent stuff that they need toward like her paychecks and stuff like that. So so the judge can determine like lost wages over this. So this is, I don't know, is it another way that Disney's just trying to like jab at Gina about all this? Because I'm finding it hard to believe that Disney was not aware of Gina Carano's post 4 years ago about this, because they watch her stuff constantly on X, on Twitter. I know that because certain individuals over the years have responded to things that she's posted, especially some of the actors. I don't know. Nevertheless, it's kind of messed up. So I mean, it's one of those things that I feel like they just were co-opting this because they're not creative? Yes. Do I feel like that they are doing this to maybe jab at Gina for her victory last week? Possibly. Because, it wouldn't surprise me at all if the people in Disney are petty like that. Because they were petty when it came to her original post that got her canceled. Because this is all just complete and utter nonsense. Because her post was not controversial, not like the ones that Mark Hamill or Pedro Pascal posted. Oh. Anyway, and we've talked about that before on this podcast. So, continuing on with what we got to talk about next. I thought we're still talking about Marvel, but this is actually in the Marvel Comics realm here. And I thought it was something interesting that I saw. So I thought I'd share it. This came out just yesterday. This article did on Geek Culture about, Godzilla versus Marvel Universe. Let's take a look at it. It says right here, look at that picture. That's just insane, right? There's the Fantastic Four, Captain America. Yeah. Notice it's not Falcon. That's Steve Rogers, Captain America. That's Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Now there is Captain Falcon, American Falcon. That's what I call him. Thor, Hulk, all going against the big guy, Godzilla. Oh no, look, Godzilla. That was my if you've ever watched any of the old Japanese Godzilla dubbed into English movies, that some of them are black and white, where you can clearly see, it's a guy in a Godzilla suit walking all over these little mock-up cities and so forth. When they talk, it's like, oh no, look, Godzilla. We better run. Their lips are moving. It's because they're speaking in Japanese and dubbing it in English. But see, the phrase may be like 15 minutes, like 15 words long, and it's like 2 words in English. Anyway, okay. Sorry, I got on a tangent. All right. Godzilla destroys the Marvel Universe comic pits Toho Titan against Earth's mightiest heroes. By the way, how cool would this be if they decided this is how they end the MCU? They make a movie like Godzilla minus one against the Avengers. And Godzilla just wipes them all out. And then the movie is, we're done. I'd pay to see that movie. Anyway. It says right here, following the series of one-shots pitting Godzilla against various Marvel heroes like Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, the King of Monsters is back for an epic showdown and Godzilla destroys the Marvel Universe. See what I mean? That would be awesome to watch. Let me zoom in on this so we can read a little bit better. Okay. That would be so cool to see Godzilla destroys the Marvel Universe. A 5-issue event series made in partnership with Toho International and Marvel Comics. Due for release on July 16th. This is upcoming this year. This is going to come out. And actually, I don't read newer comics. I stay with the older ones. But I'm seriously thinking about just checking this one out to see if Godzilla wipes out Marvel Universe. That would be so cool. Sorry. I love all Marvel, but what Marvel's become today in the comics is not the Marvel I know. I mean, they cucked Spidey a long time ago with the One More Day thing. And, you know, I just wish they'd go back to what was in the comics and the good stuff and not pander to all this politics and ideology and telling bad stories. Anyway, Godzilla has been a relentless force in nature, and battling the icons of the Marvel Universe is the perfect way to celebrate 70 years of the King of Monsters, says General Manager of Toho International. I love Godzilla. I've always loved Godzilla. Oh, man. I like watching the old ones as well as the new Monsterverse. You know, Monarch films and everything. Anyway, our continued collaboration with Marvel, bringing Godzilla into the vast Marvel Universe, guarantees an unmatched, electrifying experience for fans of both legendary franchises. It will actually be released on July 16th this year. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Like I said, I normally don't read the newer comics because I stopped after One More Day. Spidey's always been my favorite comic book hero when it came to Marvel. I'm a Marvel person over DC, although I do like DC. I just prefer Marvel over DC. Mainly because I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man's my favorite hero of all time. There's something about Spidey. But the way they done him, and I've talked about that too a couple weeks ago, the way they done him on One More Day is just wrong in my opinion. And I lost interest after that. So anyway, there you go. So, the last segment here we're going to talk about is, if you didn't know, this week is actually what's called Holy Week. Easter is coming up on Sunday, and sorry, despite people, this is really messed up. Okay. Continuing on oh man. This week is Holy Week. It's about Easter and about the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And it says right here in John 6:51, says, I am the living bread that came down from heaven. Anyone who eats this bread will live forever, and this bread which I will offer so the world may live is my flesh. And there is this is actually from one of the actors in the show The Chosen. And this was what I watched this morning in my devotional. And I thought it was really good and appropriate. So we're going to watch it. It's about 3 minutes long. And it talks about that verse and what it means.
Hey there, my name is Kirk, and I play Gaius on The Chosen, a TV series about the life of Jesus. And I am here with the verse of the day for the 5th day in our Holy Week series here on the Bible app. John 6:5-1. I am the living bread that came down from heaven. Whoever eats this bread will live forever. This bread is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world. Now, those words were spoken by Jesus just after he'd miraculously fed 5,000 people with just 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Actually, wait, that doesn't quite capture it. Those words were spoken by Jesus after he fed the 5,000, and the 5,000 had then come back looking for him to get more bread. And this is how Jesus responded.
That's in the Bible, by the way.
You got to stop chasing after food that spoils.
It's actually in John chapter 6.
What you really need is food that endures to eternal life. Yeah. Jesus says, I know your stomachs are roaring for food, but your souls are roaring for something even more important: forgiveness and reconciliation to God. And I've come to bring that through the very sacrifice of my body and blood. Now, let's fast forward a bit. In season 5 of The Chosen, near the end of Holy Week, you can see Jesus at a table sharing one last meal with.
This link is down in the description. I'm not going to play all of this. But basically what he just said there, if you don't know and you've never heard this before, here's what really Easter is all about. Jesus Christ, the Son of God, came down from heaven 2,000 years ago, wrapped himself in human flesh, being born of a virgin, Mary. So part man, part God. And coming up on Friday, they call it Good Friday. What Good Friday really is the day that after the 3 years of Jesus' ministry of preaching and teaching and talking, the Pharisees conned the Romans into arresting Jesus and crucifying him. Now, why that's important? Back in Old Testament times, to be forgiven of sins, you had to, once a year, you had to have a priest take a spotless lamb into the Holy of Holies inside the temple where only God resided, and sacrifice and kill that lamb and shed its blood to cover the sins of the people. But it didn't get rid of their sins. It just hid them from God's presence. What Jesus has done, the ultimate sacrifice, by giving of his body and giving of his blood, shedding all that on the cross for us, he became the Lamb of God, the ultimate lamb, sacrificial lamb for us, not just to cover our sins, but to forgive us of our sins completely. Now, on Good Friday, if Jesus had just died on the cross and it was just there and that was it, and he just died, it doesn't mean anything without Sunday. And that's what we celebrate on Easter, is the resurrection of Jesus Christ. In other words, he came back to life. You can go to all the other tombs of all these other religious leaders throughout history, Buddha and so forth, and they're still in their tomb. They're still in their grave. But Jesus is not. He's alive. He's with the Father. He's intercessing for us. And more importantly, he forgives us of our sins. And he wants each and every one of us to be like what he was talking about here in John, that we all hunger. These people in John were after the 5,000 were fed, they came back to Jesus expecting more food because they were starving for something. But what they didn't really understand is we were all created with a God-shaped hole in our heart that can only be filled with God. And that's what those people really needed. And Jesus told them that. He says, why are you seeking after food that will spoil? But instead, why don't you seek everlasting food? Me, I'm the bread of life. Not me, Jesus was saying this, that he is the bread of life. The shedding of his body and his blood is the everlasting food that will never spoil, that can only truly satisfy. So as we go through this week here and we think about, especially Easter coming up in a few days, I hope that if you're still feeling like, what's the point of my life? Why am I even here? What's the point? Or you just feel empty inside. What you don't realize is that emptiness is the void that can only be filled by Jesus. So I encourage you to seek him, because the Bible is very clear. When you seek out God, you will find him. Jesus is very good at showing himself to people that seek after him. Anyway, I have had enough struggle with my internet or what's going on. I'm not sure what it is, but either way, this little penguin is done for the day, and I am going to go and take a nap. I'm tired. Anyway, I'm tired of fighting the technology. So anyway, I will be back hopefully next week again on Thursday, same bat. No, not same bat channel, same penguin channel, same penguin time for more penguin thoughts. So I hope you tune in. If you watched this far, I hope you might give me a follow or subscribe and like it. And more importantly, I'd like to hear from you. Put something down in the comments. Let me know that you're out there and that you're watching this stuff, either while I was streaming it or later back on Memorex. All right, peoples. Enough of me yammering. It's the penguin, and I'm out of here. I'm a little geeky penguin for Jesus, and named Whataboutbob. Later, peeps. Have a good one.